So here we are continuing to walk. I was just saying hi to some people heading into the shop. Hey guys, this is Rob LaFond here, and this is something that a lot of people ask me about, and I wanted to tell a story of how I started my business in Colombia. I lived and worked in LA for 11 years. I worked for NPR and I did different independent productions. I worked in film and in music and production. I remember I did some t-shirts one time just for fun because I love designing stuff. It said listen, and it was just all different pictures of icons of like things that you can listen with that made up the word, or the abstract of the word really. So records, tapes, it was like just a collage of things that you could listen with. And so I remember I made that shirt and I showed people at my work and they were like, oh, that's really cool. And they, you know, a bunch of people bought one and they thought it was awesome. I was working at a radio station, and so that kind of got me started, but I was never really like a for real like designer or t-shirt person. And when I came to Medellín, I basically, I have another video as how I moved to Colombia and why I moved to Colombia. Those are other videos you can check out. I'll share the link to those. Basically, I chose Medellín and I loved it, and I was just kind of taking a break because I was working in LA for so many years and I was tired, to be honest with you, and I was just hanging out. I met a friend at had a cafe, hanging out there a lot, drinking coffee, reading, kind of spending time on my own. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do next, and I remember like just talking to different people, and me being from Massachusetts and United States, we always like kind of represent ourselves. And I remember asking people like, is there any like Medellín stuff? I was asking my friends, and I guess there was a guy who had a logo. He put Medellín in reverse, and he was selling some shirts, but he like wasn't around anymore. You couldn't really buy anything that just like had Medellín on it. And I was like, that's interesting for a city that's coming up. Like, you really couldn't get anything that represented it. And so I went and I did a bunch of research. I went to El Centro, went to Comuna 13, and like literally at that time, it was like a little over 5 years ago now, there wasn't anything. They had this license plate that said Medellín with the numbers of the license plate. It was yellow. And I was like, that's not something that I would want to buy and like represent and like go home with. They didn't have anything that was like really simple. To go back a little further, I was talking to my friend and I was like, I definitely want to stay in Colombia, but I don't know how. And he was like, you could start a business. And I guess it was a little bit easier back then to start a business. Or not easier, but it was just, there wasn't as much bureaucracy about it, and like regulations and stuff as far as getting a visa. I wanted to start a brand, a company, and I remember I have like a business plan, and it was just like a cool like street brand called Revolver 88. That was like the original like name and design of the brand. My friend Molly, her dad was here like visiting. Oh, he actually was working here and visiting. Pat Murphy, thank you. I met up with him and a friend of his, and we went and had dinner. They invited me to dinner, and I was telling them about my brand and I was starting. And then he was like, you should just use your name for the brand because your name is LaFond, and it's like a really cool name. And I was like, oh, I feel like, kind of egotistical, like naming things after me. They're like, but that's a cool name. You should really use that. So I started messing around with it, and I think they even said something, and I was like, LaFond Medellín. That has like a cool ring to it. And then later on, I realized that, LaFond actually has kind of a meaning here in Medellín, or at least a little bit of it, because a fonda is what they call like a typical place, like a typical Colombian place. They'll have Colombian food like bandeja paisa and stuff like that. They call it fonda. And so if you go to places around here or on La 70, the 70, it'll say La Fonda. And so I think by naming my brand LaFond, Medellín, people kind of like instantly thought they knew what it was. It like kind of worked in that way because people like recognized it and they thought they knew it, and it was like it just caught on kind of very quickly. I made a board of like just a collage of different brands that I like, and I think one of the brands that I really liked a lot is Supreme, which you can see it's like it's similar. I think all brands take things from other places and they reuse them in different ways, just like music is. And so I just looked at the different stuff that was around, and then I just started messing around with the word kind of Medellín. And then I started messing around with just the different logos that I liked, and I did like like I said, a vision board, and I put together this kind of thing where I just connected the E's and flipped them, and I don't know. I was just messing around, and I kind of liked how it looked. It was very minimalistic, and I was like, oh, it just has a cool look to it. So initially it was just like something that I did for fun, and I showed people like, oh, that's cool. It's like different. I don't know. And everyone kind of had like a reaction to it. So I decided I was going to do this, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I showed people, I remember it was in 2017, and I showed people my design, and I got a few of them printed. I brought some to like a birthday party, and people like liked them immediately, and they wanted them. So I was like, oh, cool. And then as soon as I posted one on Instagram, my friend bought one like that first time. I got 50 t-shirts printed, and then I talked to my friend, and he was like, well, you can sell them at my, cafe. He has a popular cafe called Cafe Revolucion, where a lot of foreigners go, and he was like, this is this little back area. You can sell your t-shirts on this little section. And I just started selling little by little. I just literally started with a few. And I remember I went to Poblado, which is like a touristy area here in Medellin. So I did like a kind of a market test, and I literally packed like 20 of the shirts in my backpack, and I went around Poblado and I just asked people, hey, do you want a shirt? And it says Medellin on it. And like some people were like, no. And a lot of people were like, yeah, how much is it? I was like, 50 mil. They're like, all right, cool. And so I sold like a few shirts walking around Parque Lleras, like at different areas. And then I ran into some friends that were going to like this hostel that had a DJ. I just like continued to sell my shirts. I was like literally just selling them out of my bag on my arm, just going up to people, like walking up Calle 10 on the street, just saying, hey, I have a shirt that says Medellin on it, you want it? So then I was like, wow, I had actually just sold like, I can't remember how many it was. It's around about 10 shirts like that afternoon, evening, which is pretty good. I was like, wow, if I did that, every day, I would be doing okay, And so I was like, oh, that's cool. And I remember when I got the design printed, I had I had like design which was like a square, and that was the design that I actually had. And when I printed it at the place, they actually made a mistake, and they printed like the reverse of it. So there was like they didn't print the square, they just printed the letters. And at the time when I was there at the manufacturer, I was like, you guys messed up the design. Like it's like a square, and the see-through part is a shirt with the letters. And they were like, oh, we just, we thought it was, they just like did it. I don't even know. They didn't even explain why they did it. They just changed my design. And I was like angry for a second. I was like, it's the reverse of the design. It's not the actual design. But then the guy who was with me helping me out was actually like, hey Rob, that actually looks pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, it does actually look cool. So now we actually have the two designs. There's lots of different designs we have, but the two main ones are with the square and without the square. And now we do like, we do hoodies with the square, and we do most of the t-shirts now just have the letters on it. So this is like an older one. This is one of the first printings, actually, the one that I have on. Another cool thing about the brand is it's very recognizable. So like, I know I've heard of people being like, oh, I was in the airport in Germany and I saw someone with your shirt on, and then I was like, hey, do you know Rob? Oh yeah, I went to his store in Laureles and I talked to him. And people meet, this has happened many times in like several different countries because they saw people with the brand on. And that to me, connecting people is like really important from the brand. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If anyone has any questions or wants any business tips or anything I can help out with, please let me know. You can contact me on my website, roblafond.com, or on Instagram at roblafond. Or if you just want to know like specific questions, put it in the comments. Or if you have an idea for another video or something else that you're interested in, please let me know, and I'd love to address that and keep this conversation going. I really appreciate you guys tuning into my channel. I hope to see you guys soon. Okay, ciao.